Nicole with kNot, and in this podcast, I'm going to take you through converting my needle storage from this to this. We are in the utility room, which is where my yarn is stored. Of course, it doesn't always fit there, so that's something for another video. But today, we're talking about how I store my needles. I have been knitting since the end of, I think, 2014. At a minimum, over 10 years. And this is how I store my needles. Notice I have a few interchangeable needles. I'm not sure if we'll get to those today that are in there. But they're all just crammed in here, nice and tight. And honestly, there's some I might even get rid of. I was watching a video by Natalie of Knit Cheek that gave me the idea of using A5 sized binder and envelopes, they're the zippered ones, to store my needles. Along with these, because this is a mini binder and these are A5, which I don't know if you can see. So the A5 products have 6 holes, but they don't have the center hole. And then the binder, as a mini binder, is a 3-ring binder. So this was my mother-in-law's. She has 2 of them. I use this to attach the labels to the bags I make. So I will need to punch a middle hole. I think what I want to do first is put my needles in the envelopes, and then I'll figure out where and which of the 6 holes I need to have punched to be 3. Why did I get a mini binder instead of an A5 binder that had the 6 holes? And honestly, it's because this is 2 inches wide, so I have lots of storage potential, whereas I could not find any A5 binders that were more than 1 inch. I also appreciated the fact that the way this is set up, I like the rings are not on the center spine. They're offset so that they can lay, and then this can close over it instead of having to make sure that I'm fitting both between. I have a Brother label maker. It is Bluetooth and syncs to my phone. Okay, my husband bought this. He's had it for a while. He made a fancy little sticker with my name that I've never used. But we'll see how many needles I fit in each bag, what I think, and then how I will label them. But for now, I think I am going to set these back. My hole punch, and pull out my needles. Let's sort my needles and figure out how many do I have and where do I want to fit them. I might do is put my 2mm US 0 with my 2.25. I do know I have a bit more 2.25 because I have socks going and I have that empty envelope. Then I'm thinking that the 2.5mm as well as the 2.75mm I will put together. I think this one I'm going to attempt to sell. So most likely that Susan Bates metal needle with the terrible cord, this one I will take to that prairie yarn over retreat. This one I will attempt to sell on the Discord destash. And then if it doesn't sell by October, I'll take it to that. All right, and then I'm thinking that my US 3mm, so that one, and then my US 3s, which are those really the only US 3s I have? DPNs and... Okay. Well, bright idea. Let's see how well they fit in the envelope. Look at how full that is already. I may need to buy myself a couple binders. But honestly, this came with a label. So this I can peel off. Stick the label on this little piece of cardboard and stick it there. What I like most about this is that, I mean, I'll be able to label everything, find out where things go. Then I do have a nice bookshelf I can put it on. All right. I am going to, I think, sort the rest of my needles. And then we'll see, do I have enough envelopes? Like I said, I'm pretty sure I got 16. Yep, so I have 14 left. Oh, so sort the rest of my fixed circular and double pointed needles, or these won't fit. I don't even know why I have them. And then once I get them sorted, we'll see what my next steps are. All right, everything left in the box is, that's a small interchangeable needle. I picked this up at, I think it was in California, the California Dixon County Wool and Sheep Festival. It's one of those more classic ones where they actually show you how to shear sheep and rustle sheep or something. I'm not sure. Anyway, it is a 1 yard nitty knotty, which is great if you have small bits of yarn to wind up into a mini skein. Or like I recently took out a swatch to use it in the project and use that. All right, so these are my Knit Picks interchangeable needles. These are 16-inch interchangeable needles. Oop. So I think what I definitely will put into envelopes is like my extra tips. So that is a US 7, a US 6, and a US 6. Cord connectors. And then the rest of these are cords for, I think it says Knitter's Pride, but Knit Picks needles. And then these are my Lantern Moon, which I also bought some additional needle tips for. I bought a US 4 because Lantern Moon don't include a US 4. Maybe, I don't know, because they have a US 3, right? So the Lantern Moon set, which I really do enjoy, is a US 3, a US 5, US 6, US 7, US 8. So I filled in the 4 because, as you can tell from here, I am seriously lacking on a US 4. And then this is a US 9, which is 5.5 millimeters. I just want to focus on that. Anyway, so I think I will do all my other needles first and then deal with those. I'm actually happy with how they're fitting in these envelopes, but I am definitely going to need to get an additional binder. They do have them in other colors, and I still think it will be much better than having all of this jammed in this box. So, for tonight, I'm going to end it, but we'll be back again. And I'm back for day 2. I did end up purchasing more mini 3D binders. So I have those in. I also started organizing, so I found some needles I was missing. I'm going to turn the camera around and I'll show you the new binders or the additional binders and the needles I found and what I've decided to do. All right, I also bought a new tripod, so we'll see how that works out today once I get that set up. But here are my missing needles. So that one is labeled as a US 5. I don't know where its case is. Obviously bamboo. In here I have some both US 0 as well as US 1. I don't actually know if I care for the Hiya Sharps. This bag with all those little balls is yarn left over from a test knit, the Barbie box shawl. The yarn was a Halloween kit from Stitched Together. She's no longer dyeing yarn. She was local to me. So I know I was missing like my US 5. These are my US 8 DPNs. I found another US 8. Apparently, I have a missing US 7 somewhere. So we'll either find that when I'm done organizing or, right? So needle without a package and package without a needle. I also have this needle over here, which is a US 4. The package for that is in there. And these are my new binders. All right. So faux leather. I love this green. And looking inside of it, there are dividers that will most likely just get thrown away. And then same with the light blue. These are also 2-inch binders because I have a lot of fixed circulars. I threw the box on the floor for now, but I have a bunch of fixed circulars and that I'm also putting my DPNs in here as well, which honestly, they've always been together, so that makes sense to me. One of the things that I have decided is that every size I own will get its own envelope, even if there's only one thing in it. So currently a US 0, I have 2 more in that package, so that gets its own. That one I have the hole punched in, and then I decided to separate apparently the 2.75s. I'm also going to separate the 2.5s. And then I separated the 3s, the 4, again, even though it only has 1. And then there is my 5s. So I am going to get the rest of these situated, holes punched into the binders. All right, so I do have all of my needles now in these 3 binders. I haven't labeled them yet. I don't know that I feel if it's that necessary since they're just in numerical order. And then as a reminder, this box is what all those needles were jammed into before. So the things left in here are my 16-inch interchangeables, my Knit Picks interchangeables, a 1-yard Nitty Knotty, and then my Chowku interchangeables. So I do also have Lantern Moon interchangeables. Those are currently in a box. All right. Just dropped the card, so info cards. And then I do have some snap IDs, but I don't use any of them. Honestly, medium is not specific enough for me. For now, I'm going to go ahead and just put these back in here. If you watched to the end of that, you did see that I put my spare interchangeable tips in with my smallest needles, as well as the additional interchangeable cords that I've purchased over time. Now I'm going to make space on the shelves for these binders, just to kind of go through what is on these 3 shelves. These are small leftovers that are all from gnomes. So a gnome was made with each one of those yarns. And I've made so many gnomes that I need 2 boxes. Some of those have made more than 1 gnome. And then those are my natural colors for beards. This was a bamboo bowl that I picked up in Hawaii. It looks like somebody took a bite out of it, but it got dropped and chipped. I like using it for notions. It actually does work as a yarn bowl for the tiny minis. I do pull from the outside because they never get used in total. I made a hat with this, and this is a DK weight leftover. I don't have a good solution for my leftover yarns at this point, which are what these are. I made a test cowl for Mary Maxim. She does the woven knitting. I do not believe the pattern is out yet. It's supposed to come out this fall. And I decided I wasn't going to make the pattern. These were 4. And that is honestly just some leftover black sock yarn, so I know that will get used. Actually, what I'm going to do is, these are all leftover fingering weight yarns. Most of them, except these 2, I don't know if you can see that. Anyway, that's a mess. Anyway, most of those were leftover sock yarns for Jeff. I'm going to put that black in there because I know I can use that black for more heels, toes, and cuffs. And I think I need to get to the point where tiny balls of yarn just need to be thrown away. That is less than 5 grams. I did have this set up to take project notes. I hand copied that into this book. I did not end up making that cowl. I did make that one. Lots of good notes there. I did make that one, but then I ended up stop using this. I did not make that one. This is this yarn here, so I ended up swatching for that. I haven't made it yet. So we can see that this did not end up being useful. I mean, I love the dot paper, but that just isn't how I want to use it. Given actually that this is an A5, it might be better to move those two things of interchangeables into here and do something else with all that dot paper, because I am not using this as a knitting journal. That's a thought. All right, this box is empty. Why, Nicole? This one is also empty. These are more interchangeable needles. They're a boy set. I believe my mother-in-law gave it to me. Like, it was more she had it in her stash and wasn't using it and gave it to me. I think these are going to go to the destash group. These I really do want to use. I bought these off of a destash server. They are interchangeable Tunisian crochet. What makes it Tunisian crochet? Cables. So like my sister has interchangeable crochet hooks that are maybe just about that long, and then it's the handle that's interchangeable. Those are the stops. And then these are the cables. I did take a class on Tunisian crochet, so it is definitely something I do want to do. Especially like if you want something bulkier, or crochet takes up a lot more yarn. Anyway, so I definitely want those. Oh, pins. That was a Magpie Notions pouch, which is full of pins. We have another Magpie one. Knitting the card game. I bought it. I've never played it. I mean, that's super cute. But honestly, that was from Stitch Together. I don't use any of these. I may attempt to sell some, and if nobody wants them, then they'll go to the destash group. All right, that is a nice big chunk. For now, I'm just gonna put those up there. This I will decide what to do with when I get the rest of my knitting space organized. Boxes will go away. I have some things I will attempt to destash. Still have this that sticks. I don't know if I'll use this, just so I have consistency with the label maker. but then I could label the outside of the binders. Now, honestly, does it take up more room than this box did? Yes, they do. But I think it will be a lot easier to find the needles I need. And I am thinking of ways to reduce the packaging. I know some people would be just take it all out of the packaging, but right now that packaging is keeping each needle individual so that they don't tangle together. So what I'm thinking is a cover like a fancy paintbrush. I was doing some touch-up painting and I have a fancy 1.5 inch angle brush, and it has a paper cover that it folds over, and then it has the top and the bottom fold, and they have a bit of Velcro that sticks them together so it protects the paintbrush. So on this needle here that I don't have a cover for, I'm thinking if I wrap it up and could make a pocket with a snap on it so that it can close, then this can just hang out and I can put a label on that pocket stating how long the needle is. And then whether they go up, right side up, or upside down, as they're in that envelope, it would take up a lot less space than the plastic packaging and hard cardboard. I know what size it is, either based off the needle or the envelope that it's in, because most of the needles, though that one's kind of faded, do say what size it is. Otherwise, I do have a needle gauge to figure out what size it is. My needles do take up a lot more space than I expected, but I am happy with this final organization, and I do think this will serve me much better. But I have a lot more to organize, which you'll see in some upcoming videos. I hope this sparks some ideas for you on organization. And I do want to note, I've been a Ravelry member since January of 2015. I'm pretty sure I took my first knitting class at the end of 2014, so maybe like a month before I joined Ravelry. And I'm only just finally getting organization and a better methodology for storing my fixed circulars. And you can see why, with as much space as those take up, that the other solutions you find on the market wouldn't work, because I have too many and I'd need to get multiple. And the other tools that you get are rather expensive, as well as I know I downloaded and cut out a pattern to make like one of those rolls, or like it folds to hold my needles, but I would have needed made multiple of those, and that's probably been 3 years since I worked on that project. Never even finished it. So I like this solution, and what I will do is on the screen I will put my total cost. It worked with one pack of 16 of the envelopes, but I did end up having to go back and spending an extra $27 on the 2 additional binders. I actually got it as a deal, getting 2 together. I paid almost as much for the first binder. Okay, almost. Like 20 bucks for the first binder. And then, you know, like 27 for the 2. So again, all of that on Amazon. I can put links to the products in the description. I do not have an affiliate link, so that's just straight to Amazon. And I will put the final price on the screen. Thanks for watching and have a great rest of your day.